love that
We're
intro.
good. Thanks. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Onion Lake. Um, so, just a little quick introduction. I was able to bring in a guest this morning to come in a podcast with us on just to share some information on Onion Lake, and also give a little bit background and history on who he is and where he's coming from. um, so I think with that we'll get started. Again, good morning. Thanks for joining us here. We'll have a little quick introduction. I'll go to my left, and then we'll come around to the right, and then we'll get into it. So, um, my name is Davis Whitstone. I've I went to school in Vancouver for audio engineering, and then I took more extra classes to learn multimedia. So this is kind of my peanut butter and jam. And then yeah, I moved back here, and now I'm checking this out. It's pretty cool. Um, as for as for living in the city life and coming back here, I think I find it that it's more peaceful just because of the sound and then when you come here you can still hear that ringing of the city. Kind of hard to get used to, but as I'm here now, it's kind of very peaceful. Yeah. So
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah.
All right, well, it's pleased to meet you. And
Thank you.
my name's Bailey Wiedemann-Komarnicki. I'm the CEO of Onion Lake Cree Nation.
Yeah.
And yeah, pleased to be here. I'm excited to be on your podcast. This is the first time for me, so I'm really excited for this.
Yeah. I'm really excited too. I'm really thankful and grateful that you agreed to, share some time with us. I really appreciate that. I know the position you hold in the community is really important. So again, I'm really honored to do this with you and to get to know you a little better, and hopefully our community, same thing. So with that, I'll open up the floor, just for you, Bailey. Wherever you want to go with this, where you're coming from, your background and all that kind of stuff.
Sure, yeah, we can get that out of the way.
Yeah.
I first off, thank you for having me. The first thing I'd like to say is, I'm very honored to be here at Onion Lake Cree Nation, and I appreciate the community for welcoming me, as well as the leadership for bringing me on, and everybody's time here. One of the things that I want to try and do is try and get involved more with the community and talking with them one-on-one. But unfortunately, with this position, with its demands, it's really, really difficult. So I'm glad this medium's here for me to reach out to the community. At least they can try and get to know me a little bit better and see where I'm coming from and who's sitting in this chair, so to speak. So no, this is a really good opportunity, and this is one of the programs I'm really proud of here at Onion Lake Cree Nation, that we're investing into different multimedia and different media streams in order to get the information out to the people. So that makes me really proud inside. This is a unique program, and that's one of the first things I noticed coming into this office was this space, and I was quite curious about it, and I'm glad that I get to be on this side of the door. So
Yeah.
but as for myself, well, we'll start at the beginning. I'm originally from the Treaty 11 territory, from the Gwich'in Nation. I am Status First Nation, and I still hold some very close ties to home. That's something that I hold near and dear to my heart, and hopefully one day, I can take my children back home and show them the same things I went through. But we moved out of the Arctic when I was 11 years old, and we moved around the world. My father was in the oil and gas industry, and my mother looked after my brother and I. It's just my brother and I. Yeah, we moved to Houston, Texas. That was our first move. At 11 years old, we went from Inuvik to Houston in 4 days. Yeah. Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 11.
Oh, yeah.
It was wild. We did that drive in 4 days.
That's like one climate change to another, right?
It was insane for what we did. But you know what, my brother and I, it didn't phase us. That was the strange thing. It didn't bother us going from one extreme to the other. We thought it was just a unique adventure, and it was. My mother, having a very dark complexion, was actually welcomed in the community easily because she looked Hispanic, actually. So everybody started speaking Spanish to her, and she goes, "I have no idea."
Yeah.
And then people notice our license plate, which was the polar bear. And, a lot of Texans would stop us and ask us where that's from. And actually, even police officers would stop us and go, where? They think it was a vanity plate.
Yeah.
Right.
So Gwich'in First Nation, whereabouts is that? Like
Mackenzie Delta. So I'm actually from the Gwich'in Nation's comprised of 4 different distinct, I want to say, groups of people. The Editat, Nitat, the Gwich'ya, and oh wow, testing.
Haidagwai.
That's the West Coast. Sorry, Editat, Nitat, Gwich'ya, and I can't remember the 4th.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Put me on the spot.
compared to like Yellowknife, would it be in that area?
Farther north than Yellowknife. 2,000 kilometers northeast of Yellowknife-ish. As the crow flies.
Okay. Like towards Nunavut?
No, towards the Yukon. So we're nestled right in between the very northern part of the Yukon and the Northwest Territories, right at the mouth of the Mackenzie River. It's actually Mackenzie Delta. Yeah. So we're south of Tuktoyaktuk about 4 hours, I believe, by the new land road. And I say the new because that was a big thing that came into the Arctic, was the all-weather road from Inuvik to Tuktoyaktuk. Because when I was a kid, you can only drive there on the ice road or fly there or barge there.
Yeah. One secret that no one really knows about is Davis is from Tuktoyaktuk.
Really?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say another fellow Northerner. Right on. And I was gonna look and I was like, "What's your last name?"
No, he's actually from Mexico. We stole him.
Southerner. Oh,
You know.
So you went north and just got lost, or?
Yeah.
Right on.
No, he's from here.
That's something I like about people here, is that they got a sense of humor, and I have to have one. I get serious sometimes in my position, and I'm reminded daily that a sense of humor is very important. To not take things too seriously. And that grounds me. The people here definitely ground me as a human being. They humble me, they challenge me, and they definitely share their sense of humor. And something I noticed with a lot of First Nations communities, even my own, if you're being teased and bugged, they like you.
Yeah.
That's hard to explain with outsiders that don't get that part of our culture, right?
Yeah. So 11 years old, you're in Houston with your family. You guys just moved. How long were you guys there?
We were there just about a year, and then another extreme happened. So we were actually following an offshore drilling rig that was actually being retrofitted for Russian water to drill in Russia. So we went to Houston head office for about a year, and then by that time, the offshore rig was in South Korea, being towed there. So we ended up in South Korea for about, I want to say about a year there as well. And that was a unique experience.
So you're there when you're 15, 16?
No, we were only there about, I was 12 years old when we moved from South Korea. So we were there for a year. And then, eventually fast forward, we ended up in Victoria, BC.
Yeah.
After our worldly travels. And I went to a school called St. Michael's University School, graduated high school for Victoria, and played football there.
Nice.
Yeah, that was my sport, football.
Yeah.
I realized at a young age, I had dreams and aspirations of going professional, but I think I was humbled at about 19 years old at a training camp, realizing I was about 6 inches too short and about 50 pounds too light. So, even my size, I was too small.
Wow.
Yeah. But that's something that I'd like to try and bring into this community, is football.
Yeah.
As a side, as a sport, a new sport to this community. I think it'd be fun to try and bring that in.
Yeah. One thing I noticed, like, I don't know if it's just me, I don't know what it is, but I've noticed, like, nowadays, this generation, the young people, like, man, there's a high percentage of them who are like giants. like I don't know if it's just me noticing that or what, but there's a lot of big young dudes walking around out there, you know.
Yeah. Even for my size, like the Gwich'in people are small people. They're small in stature. My mother, I think, is 5'3", and that's a very, typical size for a Gwich'in woman. And my father, I think, is 5'7". And so me being 6 feet and 300 pounds at 15 years old, same with my brother, bit of a, we definitely stood out.
Yeah. Yeah. So you graduated high school in Victoria.
Yes, sir.
And then kind of what happened after that?
Well, a couple interesting life events happened. My parents actually moved overseas to Russia. So kind of home moved away from me, as I like to tell people. So I was left with a decision. What do I do? Stay in Victoria or continue on to try and find a career and a path? I'm just looking at the comments too,
Yeah,
and I'm
me
giggling
too.
at them.
Getting
sorry.
teased. We're getting teased.
Yeah, it starts now. I'm surprised my my better half hasn't popped on. But anyway, sorry, where were we?
You graduated.
Oh
from
yes,
Victoria.
so
Your
I had a
parents-
decision to make, and,
Yeah.
and that was, stay in Victoria and try and make it on the West Coast. What at the time was a doable feat. It was, still relatively, easy to live there. Now it'd be impossible. So actually, I thought about the oil and gas industry. I was like, wow, how do I get into that? This is an interesting thing that a lot of my friends that went to high school in different schools, they ended up in the oil and gas industry in different parts of it. I was like, hey, Fort Mac, let's do this. Actually ended up in southern Saskatchewan, a small community called Estevan.
Yeah.
And I was actually there for about 7 or 8 years. That was my introduction to the oil and gas industry. I started as a green hand with no experience, I started at the very bottom.
Yeah.
And I worked my way up very quickly, very, very quickly. It was a very busy time for them. And, some of the stuff I look back on that we did operationally, it wouldn't fly today.
Yeah.
No, we did a lot of stuff real cowboy.
Yeah.
And I'll be the first one to admit that. But that's where I first sunk my teeth into to leadership roles. It was at Trican Well Service.
Yeah. So that was a service rig or drilling?
It's a service company, and we serviced primary and remedial cementing operations is what we did. We serviced drilling rigs, service rigs. So we were on all sorts of types of equipment. But it was the pressure pumping industry. So my main objective on the primary side was to mix cement slurry, and that would secure the drilling casing into the ground.
Yeah.
And so the drilling rig could continue drilling, or remedial, where you're remediating existing wells.
Nice. I want to come back to that.
Sure.
But I know last time we kind of chatted, we visited a little bit. You mentioned you got into DJing a little bit somewhere along the lines there.
Yes. Not a lot of people know that. During high school, I got into that. I tried a lot of different things as I was growing up, and that's what my parents really tried to push, is try different things. Even if you don't like it, try it.
Yeah.
DJing, definitely. So I had 3 turntables, Stanton straight 80s, and these were actual vinyl DJ. I'm not talking nowadays where you got a computer and a couple of beat machines, and like it's nothing like that.
Yeah.
So I definitely dabbled in that for a little bit, but unfortunately with all my travels, I ended up getting rid of the equipment and kind of not thinking about it. And lately I've been thinking about it more and more.
Yeah.
Now that I'm getting older, and I find myself like, I miss doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what DJ, Davis, by his background, his trade.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, before he came here, which was a couple months ago, he got invited to go on tour with hip hop artists.
I was never that good. Let me just say that right now. I'm not even close to that. It was a hobby that I had in my garage.
Yeah.
I was never, ever invited to do anything. It was just something I took an interest in. Yeah. So let me just say that right now.
Okay.
Before you start getting ideas.
I was going to ask you a whole bunch, but yeah, thank you for clearing that up.
Complete amateur. Yeah.
Yeah. So, moving forward, we'll come back to the oil and gas stuff later. So you were there for 6 or 7 years.
That's right.
And then what happened next?
I got, honestly, it's funny. I look back, and that was something that I attribute it as something I needed to go through, but I was really unhappy, working there. As I look back on things, I needed a change, and I thought that change was a change in scenery. So I continued on in the cementing and acetizing industry, and I actually started working for Halliburton. Now, I'm not going to go on the record with any of this, but I left Halliburton. I did not enjoy working for them either. Very American company, just didn't align with me. And they actually ended up pulling out of Canada anyway, so it all worked out for everybody.
Yeah.
But actually, I was on my way back from Grand Prairie where I was working for Halliburton, and I got a call from a colleague. And let me just say this. News travels fast in the oil and gas industry. It's a small industry. I like to say it's only 8 square blocks, downtown Calgary.
Yeah.
It's very small. So when people hear things very quickly. So, a couple of my colleagues already heard that I left Halliburton, and I got a call about, I think I was heading south. I was around Valley View. I got a call. Hey, head to Strathmore. I went, where the heck is Strathmore? I don't even know where this place is. I said, why am I going to Strathmore? He goes, well, this company called Magnum Cementing Services is looking for area managers, and they're looking for, talent. And I said, well, why are you talking to me then? And we had a good joke, and I said, okay, I'll head to Strathmore. Long story short, I ended up working for Magnum out of Kindersley. Great experience. I got nothing bad to say about Magnum Cementing Services. They helped me going through school. I'll get to that later. They were a good company, even though they laid me off on my birthday. Wow. Clint Jansen, shout out to you. He was my manager. I knew the layoffs were coming, and I went into his office and I saw 2 envelopes. And I know on your birthday you get a $20 Tim's card, right?
Really?
Yeah. So I joked. I said, so today I might get my walking papers and my Tim's card. And his face just went somber.
Really?
Oh, he knew, and I knew too, right? But I was trying to be lighthearted about it. And even to this day, I don't hold it against him. He was a great guy, and I learned a lot about being a good leader from him. But going back to that about leadership, that's ultimately with my experience in the oil and gas industry, and as well as in my consulting era, learning to be a good leader was something I'm still striving to do. I'll be the first to say this. When I was working at Trican, I was an awful leader. I was terrible. Night and day difference between now and then, but I had a lot of things to learn.
Trican. So this was all still oil and gas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Up until I got laid off from Magnum out of Saskatchewan. Oil and gas related, right into that field. I had worked everywhere from I want to say Brandon, Manitoba to Fort St. John and in between. And that's the Western Canadian Sedimentary Basin. Now I got laid off. What do?
Yeah.
So I applied to go to school. I applied at SAIT, and I thought whoever calls me first wins.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave this up to life to guide me where I need to go. And I just kind of let it happen. So for the summer, I found a job piloting grain bins, I think, in Saskatoon, just waiting for notification for school. And SAIT accepted me right away. And that was in the petroleum engineering technology. It's a 2-year diploma. And let me say, what a program. I have nothing bad to say about their facilities. It was top notch. The extraction, the facilities, everything. The information was current. And I urged anybody that I ran into that wanted to get into oil and gas related education and industry to take that program first.
Yeah.
Because that'll tell you if you want to continue on into an engineering or maybe into a accounting or the business side, whatever that is. But it takes literal 4 years of information crowds into 2. It was intensive.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was the name of that?
Petroleum engineering technology.
Petroleum. Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I think a lot of our young people here in the community, like, we all been through it, coming up through high school and trying to figure out what we want to do with life. A lot of times we don't know the options that are out there, so we're trying to keep it simple, like lawyer, doctor, or whatever it is, truck driver, on the trade side. So shedding light on the different options, like something like that, I think is good for the young people to know that, there's an option like this, petroleum engineering technologies.
Yes.
Is that a tough
It is hard
thing to get into?
You know what? I'm going to say this. If I did it, anybody can do it. I am not a genius. I'm not I'm just like everybody else. It's if you have the want and drive, you'll do well.
Yeah.
It's just like anything. It's a difficult course. It's a difficult program. But the group of students that I went through that program with, we all had the same objective: get through it with the best grades as possible, as fast as possible. So we were at school till midnight sometimes studying. So it's all what you put in. But definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think the doors that it opens, for employment and potential employment is vast. Yeah.
Yes.
Like being a pump operator or a pumper, that would be an option, right?
Yeah, there's well, out of the technology course, I mean, that's more geared towards the engineering side of things, the technical side,
Yeah.
which
Okay.
is not for everybody. Whether or not you want to stay in the field and get experienced on equipment, that's different.
Yeah.
But this definitely lays the foundation for the technical information that you're going to learn as either an engineer or in the business development side or even in the operation side.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a really good foundation because it gives you reservoir engineering, it gives you drilling operations, completion operations. It lays a whole foundation.
Wow.
And let me tell you, reservoir engineering will blow your mind if you like technical. It blew mine.
Yeah.
It was such an interesting science to me.
Reservoir
Engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so if you don't mind moving on.
Yeah, no, please set the tone.
Yeah. So if we'll fast forward a little bit, where did you end up after that?
After SATE, I thought I swore up and down I was going to say, I'm done with school. I burnt myself out in 2 years just grinding away every day. Magnum let me work during the summers and during Christmas breaks. They didn't have to, but they did, and that's what I mentioned earlier. They helped me through, where they could.
Yeah.
Ended up at Montana Technological University. Yeah, I ended up getting a scholarship to go there and finish my my degree in petroleum engineering. So I ended up in Montana, Butte, Montana.
Is that by what's that, Crow Fair or Billings?
No, Billings, if I'm not mistaken, going by my memory, would be to the west more.
Yeah.
Butte is
Missoula.
yeah, it's only about an hour and a half from Missoula. So from Missoula, I believe it's about, if I'm not mistaken, southeast of Missoula.
Okay.
Yeah, Butte's kind of right in the center of the Continental Divide, right nestled into the mountains. Fun fact about Butte, because there's not much fun about Butte anyway, but it's actually 100 feet higher than Denver in elevation compared to at mean sea level.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, we have a Butte here too, in around here. Are you familiar with that?
No.
It's an old watering hole shut down, but the older generation, no, that was them.
Sounds like some of the places in Butte run down and and dingy. That was basically Butte. As I joke with a lot of people, it had a big drug problem in Butte, but as I say to people, it's a drug town with a school problem. So it was a have-not or has been community that has a school, and the school is the main driver of their economy. So you see a lot of students in that town and a huge disparity in classes. But other than that, I mean, the joke is that beautiful Montana, 5 minutes out of Butte, any direction. That was the joke that we all said. Even the teacher, the instructor said that.
Yeah.
But it was a good school. Really good school.
Nice. So where did you end up after that?
Oh my goodness, we could talk about this for the next 3 hours.
Yeah.
Ended back up in Canada. Started consulting, doing my MBA online as well. Ended up having my first daughter in 2020. She was, 2020. Yeah, 2020, and she changed everything for the better.
Yeah.
She's just about 4 years old now, and she's she taught me a lot about patience.
Yeah.
I was actually invited to go to Robert Gordon University overseas for a master's program, but it just unfortunately, just with life and as I mentioned with my daughter, it just wasn't possible.
Yeah. I understand. I had a baby. I had a daughter too. Same time, 2021.
I'm proud to be a girl dad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Me
yeah.
too. Yeah.
Actually, I have 3 children. I have 2 girls and a boy.
Mm.
Yeah, and my boy is just actually, I think he just had his 3 months, going on 4 months now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just a little one.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, shout out to Maverick
Yeah.
and Madeline.
It's awesome. So yeah, so there you have it, folks. Kind of part of the reason I wanted to do this with Bailey is just to kind of get to know him better, his background, and I hope, as the community members, you guys feel the same way. I was hoping we can get up to speed with that. So I think with that, we're 25 minutes into this. It's 10 to 10. Not sure how much time you have, and like you said, like there's so much to talk about.
There is.
Like we could sit here for hours discussing, the state of the nation, plans for the future, and goals and stuff like that. Which I would like to do.
Yes, I'd love to come back. I think this is a great introduction. I can talk about myself. You get me talking about myself, and I don't mind sharing every little detail because I think it's just so unique. Sharing a story, a personal story.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss anything, so you don't, maybe not get the whole big picture. So
Mhm.
I tend to go overboard with the details.
Yeah.
But that's part of my job as well, is look at the details.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to summarize this for the people, is that the whole reason I'm here is for the people. Part of me being here was accommodations. I ended up sleeping on the floor of the elders lodge for about 5 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, because there was just a lack of housing, and I think Lloydminster was the turnaround, so you couldn't get a hotel or an Airbnb or anything to save your life.
Yeah.
So I took what was available. I'm very much here for the people. That's my first and foremost, other than my family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's up to you. I kind of sensing that you got to run. You have a lot on your plate, a lot of priorities, immediate priorities.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you want, we can pause here,
Sure.
and then we'll schedule another one and
part
kind
2.
of look forward. Yeah.
This could be a ongoing thing.
Yeah, totally. So just for the viewers out there, before we go, just a reminder, 4 o'clock today, we have the Homemakers Club, their first initial kickoff meeting at the Round Hall. Snacks and I think soup and bannock will be provided. What else we have coming up? Next Tuesday, we have a band meeting at 1 p.m. So
sorry, let me correct that. Sorry, is that the 22nd?
oh no, 2 weeks time.
That's the 22nd. We have the,
22nd,
and we're calling that the Community Engagement Forum.
Community Engagement Forum.
Yes, quote unquote band meeting.
Yeah.
Just because, again, out of other respect to the community, with right now with grieving families and that sort of thing, we wanted to make sure there's enough time that passes so that we can actually have this and have a really good engagement with the community.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So 22nd, 1 p.m. community engagement forum.
There'll be door prizes.
There'll be door prizes. Homemakers Club today at 4. Tomorrow there's the budgeting workshop at the east side old truck stop building. That's at 11 a.m. till 3. Everybody's welcome. On Friday, I can't read my writing on the wall there, it's too small, but yeah, we'll try to keep everybody updated as much as we can. Again, thank you, Bailey, for doing this. Just a little quick introduction and background on who you are, just for the community members. He has his master's in business, petroleum engineering degree. So as you could tell, he's highly educated and experienced in the field with boots on the ground. So if you ever have any questions or ideas, if you can, you bump into him somewhere at the restaurant or the store, whatever, feel free to chat.
Absolutely.
That's one thing I noticed with you, Bailey. Like you always make time for people, you're not always in a rush and trying to, just bulldoze through. You shake hands, you chat, and that's one thing I really like about you.
Thank you.
So with that, thanks again, everybody. We'll end off here. About 30 minutes in, we'll have a part 2. We'll have some closing comments. I'll start to my left, and then we'll end off with Bailey. Then we'll shut her down and keep chugging away with work.
Okay. Yeah. It's really nice to get to know you. I really was just gonna go off on a deep end about the whole DJ thing, but thanks for clearing that up. I did have a lot of questions, but I think I'll just wait for part 2.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an open book.
Okay.
You know, barring anything that has any sort of confidentiality between it, you know, with our operations, I personally have an open book.
Okay.
You know, I want to be as approachable as possible, and absolutely just echoed, you know, what Fraser said. Come and say hi.
Okay.
I don't bite.
Yeah.
Yeah. With that, that's basically all I wanted to say.
It was nice to meet you as well.
I'll wait for part 2.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. Just with my closing comments, you know, Fraser, thank you so much for having me. It was nice meeting you. I'm looking forward to part 2 and even part 3. I don't mind. This can be an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
You know, I really want the community to understand, you know, who's sitting in this chair, and the whole reason I'm here is because of them and for them. So I think that's really important that they get to know who's in leadership. And by all means, if you see me out in the community, stop me, say hi. Don't be afraid. I've always got time for people because, again, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
And I think some people, you know, in this position, it's easy to lose sight of that.
Yeah.
What is the ultimate goal and objective of sitting in this chair? It's for the people.
Yeah.
When you boil it all down. And if I do you know, if I see, you know, I ask myself, how well am I doing in this position? I look at the community. Is the community doing well? Are they mentally and spiritually well?
Mm-hmm.
Are they financially well? That's my metric.
Yeah.
Are they doing well or not? But anyway, I'll leave with that closing comment. I appreciate you having me on here, and I appreciate the questions, and I appreciate you going easy on me on my first time on a podcast.
Yeah. So like you said, if you see me bump into him, say hello, and don't be afraid to ask for $20. Tell him you'll vote for him. Yeah. So no, with that, we'll end off. I do have golf passes that I need to get rid of before the golf season ends. And I know I mentioned this on Saturday when I was with Kobe to share, comment, but I wasn't able to capture, able to see who all shared. So I couldn't put everybody into the draw. So we'll do it again with this episode here. Share this episode. I have 4 golf passes, Lloyd Golf and Country Club. Share this episode and make sure you comment. We'll be getting the comments. So whoever comments will make the draw. We'll do that tomorrow morning at 8:45, me and Davis. So you have 24 hours to get your name in the draw. With that, we'll leave it at that. Again, thank you everybody for joining us. Thanks, Bailey, for doing this, Davis, and we'll see you guys again soon. And hope you have a good day. Hi.